Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Computer America Show. It is Thursday. Sit back, relax, got some great guests, and as we start, a 2-hour edition of the Computer America Show.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America program. Always have a great show planned for you. In the second hour of the show, we're going to be talking to Neurometrix. This is a company that is really into wearable medical technology and point-of-care test equipment that allows patients and even physicians to better manage chronic pain and nerve diseases and sleep disorders. You can control a lot of it with your smartphone. It's a very interesting technology. Frank McGillen, Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Consumer Health Division of Neurometrix, will be joining us in the second hour of the program. That's going to be very interesting. I know things like TENS units and what have you that do this kind of thing, but they've taken it to the next level, is what, and I'm certainly interested in hearing what he has to say. Okay, and hold on, what is this? All right. I'm not sure. I'm showing live video here. I'm getting some feedback that we're having no live video. Ben is here. I see you.
Yeah, everything here says it should be live.
Yeah, it is. It's live. For some reason, we're getting some people saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I'll just carry on.
All right. I won't worry about it. But in the first hour, we're going to be talking about a company named Rivetz. And did you know that there is security technology built into smart devices, smartphones, hardware, actually? And so I did not know that. I know things with Touch ID and things on smartphones that it's built in, but evidently in Android devices, there are hardware implementations that developers can take. Okay, now I'm getting a report that that the sound is great, but there's no video. This is very, very strange.
If you still have me selected, I don't have my video turned on yet.
Yeah. Okay, but can you see a video or not? Okay, so there's a problem, and I'm not sure what that is. Ben, if you could just talk for a minute, because I think I know what might be happening, and I'm going to try to make a correction to it.
Sure. Yeah. No. The only thing that we are really working here on Computer America, other than all the technical difficulties that we have, just seem to be springing up out of nowhere. Just wanted to say that. I wanted to remind everyone that, yes, we will be having a show reminder winner this week, and apparently from what we've been talking about on the inside, sounds like there might even be a show reminder winner next week as well. We kind of promised everyone that that this week would be the last show reminder winner, but yeah, that looks like it's not going to happen. So luckily, everyone who signed up for it, you can sign up for it still in the coming week, but as it's going right now, next week is going to be our last one until we get all of our social media, kind of hooked up, linked, and synced. And that way you will be able to enter the contest through any of our social media means. So, Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, what have you. Any of those will be able to enter you into our contest for our Logitech prize.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I just confirmed everything. Everything is up and running. So this is obviously a Google Hangouts problem. The links
Again, do you still have me selected?
I don't see you. I don't see.
No, do you have me selected in Google Hangouts?
Yes, I do right now.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay. All right.
I don't have my video up.
No, but I didn't before. I didn't. And is it saying just please stand by, or is it just what are you seeing in the window?
Just the logo.
Just the logo. Okay.
We are a radio show.
No, we are a radio show, so she's seeing the logo. So maybe.
Yeah, we're a radio show, so let's get on with our guest.
Okay, let's get on with the guest, and we'll see what happens there. In the meantime, let's just introduce our guest this hour, and we'll be able to figure it out. If not, then just this show won't have a live video tonight. If you have a comment or question, though, you can give us a call at 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. Email is live, LIVE, at computeramerica.com. You can also join us in our live chat room from our homepage at computeramerica.com. Just click the chat room / show notes, chat room / video button, and you'll get a split screen. On the left-hand side, there's the entry form to take you into the chat room. Just put in a username. That's the name you'll be known by when you go in there. Click the connect button, and your browser will move you into the Computer America chat room. And also, sharing that same page is our live Computer America video stream. Normally, you should be able to watch the show, but evidently, some people are having difficulty in seeing the program tonight. But we'll sally forth and just see how it goes. And sorry about that, Sally. All right. So let's talk about the company Rivetz. It's spelled Rivetz. Rivetz makes it simple to connect web services to trusted hardware in phones, tablets, and PCs. See, when you can trust a device to provide basic, uncompromised instructions and transactions, the idea is you can deliver more value with more convenience. A rivet, and we'll find out what a rivet is, can hold secrets and craft instructions in a physically and cryptographically isolated hardware environment on the device itself. This establishes trust and, by extension, simplicity between online services and their users. Now, here to explain all this further is the CEO of Rivetz, Stephen Sprague. Stephen, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
I am doing very well. How are you?
Our pleasure. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but as we said, we're primarily a radio show, but we've lost our video stream for some reason, but you're not on the video anyway, so that's fine. So
I'm not on the video.
No, you're not.
You're safe.
Yeah, we're safe. So tell us a little bit about. I looked at the website and it was a little unclear to me as to what kind of services and things that you provide at Rivetz. So, in your own words, why don't you does?
Happy to. This is a new experience for most people for services, although something that everyone uses every day. Hardware security is now possible inside the actual smartphone, in the main processor of the phone. For a number of years, a company called ARM, who makes them and manufactures the main processor chip, has included the ability to run small programs that are completely isolated from the main operating system. And that isolation means that malware or bad apps in the operating system can't affect that isolated execution. And what's possible now is to run a program inside that isolated execution that offers services for app developers, so we can properly hide secrets like keys for access or payment or encryption, and also to process data with those keys. And so for the first time, we can support the same type of capabilities you're very familiar with when every time you make a phone call, you have a SIM chip in your phone, and that SIM chip makes it possible to connect to AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile and just connect your phone call. You don't have to type in a password each time. You don't need some other device that you have to push a button on in order to get access. It just works. And it's bringing that just works capability of embedded security and access to a broad range of different services. What we do at Rivetz is we build a set of tools that any application developer can use to incorporate within their app simple to use code, existing examples, some open source code that is possible to incorporate into their app and take full advantage of this trusted execution environment within the phone itself.
So now what are we talking like all smartphones? Are we talking like the Apple line of iOS devices, the iPhone or Android only? Because I always thought that Apple was kind of protective of how they do things, especially when it comes to security. So do you work with?
Right. So this is a technology that's built into the hardware chip, and so actually in the ARM architecture, which is used both in Apple products and in Android products, the capability is there, but Apple chooses not to expose it. They use it internally. They use it for what they call secure enclaves. It's how an iPhone 6 matches your fingerprint securely in the iPhone 6. But on Android, it's open so that we can develop an application and expose that to application developers. It's been a fairly difficult technology to get access to, and it's really only in the course of the last 6 months or so that the infrastructure has been put in place, and we've partnered with a number of companies to make it possible to for a general purpose app. Really anybody from 3 kids in a garage to some of the largest app developers could now take advantage very easily of the hardware security that's within the device.
Okay, and I'm not surprised that Apple says no. I mean, because they have their, as I mentioned, their Touch ID, and now their payment method. You can just basically tap your iPhone 6 or onto the terminal, and it will and you can pay, for things. But again, as you say, that's even though it's there, Apple's keeping it. They're playing their cards close to the vest. They're not letting that stuff out to developers.
That's correct.
Okay, so what's left? We're looking at the Android community then for most of the smartphones, the Samsungs, all the other phones that use the Android operating system. Is that primarily your market then, Stephen?
That's primarily our market. This is also a technology that AMD is including within their processor architecture. And so actually many of the new AMD tablets and laptops have a similar capability. Of course, those are running Windows. So it's actually quite a broad marketplace of devices. It is a new technology, so it's not yet in every one of the Android phones, but companies like Samsung are now shipping it very broadly across their product line. So if you buy a new S6, this capability exists within the Samsung S6 line. It's also in products available from HTC and Alcatel One Touch and a number of the Chinese smartphone manufacturers. So volumes are increasing every day, and there are over 400 million devices in the market today that have this capability in the box.
Now, you once said, and excuse me if I'm quoting you incorrectly, but I understand you once said people don't tend to lose data. Devices steal it. What do you mean by that?
Well, so the challenge today is we've been given this concept that we should have username and password and walk up to any device and use it. And most of us know that you shouldn't log into your home bank account on the cruise ship public terminal. That's probably a bad idea. And the reason is because the devices have malware running on them, either accidentally or intentionally, designed to steal your data. And most humans aren't trying to copy the ones and zeros down or put a file on a USB stick and take it out of your computer. It's that the computer itself is stealing your data. And so one of the huge advantages of trusted computing is that you begin to move away from a model of username and password, which really isn't working very well for us, and towards a model of only registered devices. So my collection of devices, my tablet, my phone, my PC, are my devices that connect to the services to which I belong. And so we can move away from passwords. I log into my device, my good little robot automatically logs me into all the services to which I belong.
Okay.
So it's moving it's moving the security side from passwords and usernames, which they can be stolen from around the world. But I think at the end of the day, it sounds good on face value, but what happens if someone takes your phone out of your hand and takes it, and then they realize, oh, this thing now has the ability to log into all these accounts already? I mean, that's one of the flaws with saving your passwords in a browser and things like that. Is this meant to be used in conjunction with normal passwords?
Sure. So what you would do is, so there are two protections. First, the most important protection is, over the course of the last 10,000 years of evolution, we as humans have been trained to keep track of things. And so when you lose your phone, now most of us are probably a little bit older, but if you're like 17 and you lose your phone, it only takes about 5 minutes before that electrical shock runs up your spine, and you're almost useless for the rest of the afternoon because your phone is missing. And that's the response we all collectively would like to have people have when they lose control of, in essence, their services, because I now know I lost my phone. What protects the phone when it's lost is that most people are willing to set up either a fingerprint or a PIN number so that I log into my phone and then my phone logs me into everything. Now, certain services like banking or a payment might, like Apple Pay, every time you pay, you might want to put your fingerprint or your finger on the biometric sensor, or type in a PIN number because you're making a payment. But for lots of services, like making phone calls, you don't really care. You just dial the number and get connected. And the same would be true whether you're logging into any service that would take advantage of Rivetz to secure the relationship between the phone and the service. And unlike storing passwords on the phone, this is a case where these credentials, first off, they're full strength cryptographic credentials. And secondly, they're held in a safe place. So I don't have to worry that a piece of malware deployed on my device can steal all my passwords, which is the case today on either your computer or your phone.
Wow. Okay. So is this something that's is pretty much completely transparent to the end user? I mean, this is something that a developer would use to make their product more secure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so we have this experience today. Many people are being told to use two-factor authentication, right? Have some
Sure.
second device like my phone and use it to log into a service. And so what they're effectively doing actually in two-factor authentication is there's only one secure thing in your phone today, and that's the SIM module from your carrier. And we'll just pick on AT&T as an example. And so I send an SMS that comes down to your AT&T secured identity because you have a SIM, and you say, yep, that's me, or you copy a little code down and type it into a browser. However, two-factor authentication isn't necessary when I'm using, for example, AT&T's calling service. I just dial the phone number and get connected.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an opportunity to give to the developer community the tools to have their own controlled virtual SIM in the phone. So all the same protections that the carriers have to protect voice and texting are now available for any service you want to put in the device. And that protection can be for more than just authentication, but for the encryption and privacy and decryption of messages within the device today.
Okay.
If you're watching the video right there, you could see the moment that this whole concept just clicked in my head. Okay, the relation you said with the SIM card and the texting and the voice. So you want to give that same kind of authentication, that same ease of authentication to app developers, and let app developers, let's say if it's a dating app, let's say if it's a banking app, let's say if it's any other app, it would just be authenticated through the phone. It would kind of save people time and be much more secure. Okay, it all clicked. It all clicked.
Okay, Stephen, that's Ben, my co-host, and yeah, evidently he now gets it. Okay.
I didn't there at first. I got it now.
All right. Well, there's a lot of talk about cybersecurity. I mean, we have our cybersecurity expert, Charles Tendell. He's a gray hat, a certified ethical hacker. But it seems to me it never seems to get better. I mean, it's actually, in many cases, I think it's actually getting worse. I have, lots and lots of passwords, and I'm struggling to remember which passwords are what. And now, of course, websites are asking questions. What's your mother's? Who was the third person that that your mother was dating back in whatever it was?
Who's your favorite pet? And you have 3 of them. Like, oh, well.
Exactly.
So let's use a great example of where it was once deployed. We had cybersecurity, huge nightmare. They made one little change and fraud went to 0. Because if there was a great at-scale example of that, we could copy it. So you have to be really old. In 1994, if you had an analog cell phone, the mere act of driving down 101 could get your phone cloned. And what they did was stole your phone's identity using an antenna and an old computer. Mm-hmm. And armed with that identity, they could program it from the key set into a different analog phone and then make phone calls on your account. And it was fantastic because back in those days, phone calls cost a couple dollars a minute. And so you'd get home and there'd be a bill for, $2,000 for phone calls to Mexico. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I didn't make these phone calls. And AT&T in their brilliance would change your phone number, which was fantastic because then nobody called you for a month because nobody knew what your phone number was.
That's right, yeah.
And in the transition from analog phones to digital phones, the U.S. cellular system copied the European scheme for hardware security into the digital handsets in the form of SIM chips, or in the case of the Verizon phones, they were actually just built in. There were no little cards to put in. And fraud went to 0. And now today there are 5.4 billion phones in the world, and effectively nobody worries about somebody else on their voice account on a carrier anywhere.
Yeah, why is that?
Because we moved to a device identity model for security where we don't trust the human. You don't know what your AT&T code is. It's on a little chip inside your computer. It works brilliantly.
Okay.
In all of enterprise computing and the web, we have functioned in this crazy idea of you can use any computer and we'll give the user username and password. And we as humans are really, really, really bad at the username and password thing. Mm-hmm. And so what we should do in this transition to a world of all mobile and all Internet of Things is let's help bring the whole enterprise compute and enterprise and web market into a mobile architecture where every service provider can have their own virtual SIM chip, properly secured, properly isolated in hardware, in the chipsets of the device. That's what these technologies are built to do.
And you mentioned right there the Internet of Things, and this is something that I've been harping on for a while now. We heard it a couple times when it first started happening, but we haven't heard much since it. But like the Internet of Things keeps getting bigger and bigger, but I don't think the security solutions are really advancing along with it. So I was wondering if
are they going to hack our refrigerators?
Well, yeah, we remember a story from when they first connected an internet fridge, and it was like a wine fridge for a hotel. They hacked into it, cranked the heat up, and ruined like $100,000 worth of wine. Like that kind of stuff can happen. So I was wondering if something like your solution would be able to solve the security problem with all these Internet of Things, because people are getting the idea to connect everything to the internet, but I feel like security really is taking a backseat to what can we do.
So at the risk of being a little bit complicated, the idea here is fantastically simple. Your Internet of Things, your collection of things, should be your own very tiny, 100 nodes on your network carrier, where you, the individual, are in charge of the root keys. And so what in essence happens is I build an Internet of Things that's based on every device having an identity. I register my devices with each other, and then my devices can securely message each other. Think of it almost like chat sessions, but with encrypted chat. So my devices talk to each other on an encrypted messaging protocol, and it doesn't matter where they are. So take your laptop, wave it in front of your printer, and exchange a key. And once you exchange that key, you can take those two devices anywhere in the world, and they can always talk to each other. There's no LAN, there's no firewall, they're just both on the internet, and they have secured communications between devices. And this is the basis of how Internet of Things is really a transition to an architecture of the network that's based on the identity of the device. And absolutely, these are the technologies that will make that possible. And I will add one other little piece, which is it's not about my laptop or my phone logging into my doorknob. What you really would like to have is a secure instruction. And this is, I think, something we learned in some of the work that we've done in Bitcoin and blockchain and the cryptocurrency space, is that you want the device to form an instruction that tells the doorknob to unlock or the medical pump to change the dosage. It's not that I log into the doorknob and then I unlock it with an unsecure browser. I actually form an instruction, properly encrypted, properly signed, that has good attestation data that it has been properly formed on a known device, and send that to the doorknob. And the doorknob can say, if you ever saw that movie like Hunt for Red October, where they had emergency action messages, and they had to sort of break it open and check the keys
Sure.
of, before they launched the nuclear missiles. This is that kind of a concept, a secure message with a signature that provides an instruction.
Okay. All right.
All right, that's and I guess I think people get it now from a consumer standpoint, but I guess Rivetz is like that's how it would be working on the consumer side. But you guys are really focusing on giving the tools that that app developers need. So they, we have a sense of how it works. How does one implement this into their app? Is this just like a snippet of code, and then everything else that is compatible with that code works, or what does it take? Either the 3-person team or the huge app developing team. What does it take for them to integrate this kind of technology into their app?
Excuse me. So hopefully it's a very simple solution. What we've done is we've built an application that runs in the trusted execution environment in this little isolated kernel in the chip. And we partner with companies like Trustonic, who help us provide us the environment that makes that possible. And that application, what we try to provide are really the basic primitives of encrypt something, decrypt something, make keys, etc. And we offer those application interfaces and a set of tools so that when you build an app, once a Rivet is installed in the phone, then that app can gain access to its keys and encryption process within the phone. And so you would go to Google Play and download a normal app like an encrypted chat app or a Bitcoin wallet. And you download that app, and if the Rivet's not installed, it will magically and silently get installed in the background. They're very small, so it only takes a few seconds. Once it's installed, then the process of the app will create a key and begin the process of having an account for you for whatever the service needs. It really depends on the different types of services.
All right.
And so that process of moving from keys that are held in the operating system to keys that are held in hardware is actually a very simple transition.
All right. Listen, I want to talk more about the Rivet itself and how that actually goes. But we're at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to go to commercial break, and then we'll continue on, Stephen. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, on the TuneIn Radio Network. We've got a news test bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up as well. We'll be right back.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the time that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Okay, here comes the good part. This is Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America. This time, the First Alert One-Link Wi-Fi thermostat. It starts with a digital thermostat that can be configured for almost any home's heating and cooling equipment. Next step, set up 4 day-part schedules for each day of the week. Set your desired temperature and how much leeway you want to allow before heating or cooling kicks in. That's just the starting point for the First Alert One-Link Wi-Fi thermostat. The screen is interactive and can show day, date, and your pick of favorite photos. You can set away or vacation schedules. You can look at its past week runtimes. You still haven't used Wi-Fi, so let's go there. One choice is to configure it just to download your local forecast, which displays at the top of the screen as a temperature with a trend arrow and a probability of a precipitation with an outcome icon. You can also use their cloud service to read and control your thermostat remotely through any of several companion apps. We recommend against that, but we're not your mommy, so you choose. Bottom line, the First Alert One-Link Wi-Fi thermostat hides a very nimble control system behind a very pretty face. This is Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour. Stephen Sprague is here with us. He's the CEO of Rivetz Corp. And, we're talking all about Rivetz and really getting it. It may seem technical, but I think at the end of all the explanation, it boils down to something very, very simple, which is very, very good. So, before the break, we were just getting into it, and Craig, you just asked you're about to ask a question right before the break.
Well, Steve, I just want to know what you mean. What is a rivet? Because you're referring to it. What is it?
So a Rivet is the actual trusted execution app inside the phone. But from a brand perspective, a rivet is an interesting thing. If you want to attach dissimilar materials, applications to devices, or let's say leather to stainless steel, you use a rivet.
Mm-hmm.
And a rivet has a very unique property, which is I can always break a rivet and detach the leather from the stainless steel. But when I attach it again, I have to use a new rivet.
Yeah, a new rivet.
And so in essence, what we're able to do is create a unique binding between services and devices. Every service has its own set of keys. The privacy of the user from service to service is properly isolated. And so I don't have just one identity. I can have hundreds of identities for all the different services that I belong to. And therefore, the encrypted channels or solutions, encrypted chat is such a great example where we could have a chat session and be assured that the central service knows nothing about what we talk about, but the keys can't be stolen like they were, let's say, in Snapchat or something.
Okay. All right.
So they're encrypted from like the messages are encrypted, but doesn't the fact that you have these rivets and maybe there's like a signature, can't they find out who, like, it, perfect for security, but speaking about security, can't they see who was talking on either end, or is that just not, or is that information kind of not even important?
Well, the beauty of good security is it actually enhances both great identity. In some cases, I want to know exactly that it's Stephen Sprague and here's his credit card number and his social security number and where he lives and whatever, because I'm buying a product. And in other cases, I might just want to own a token that says I'm a subscriber to Computer America. I might have used Stephen Sprague's ID to buy a subscription, but now I just have a token that says I can listen for the month of April. And you don't know who I am. I'm just one of the holders of a token. But because that token can only be deleted, it can't be copied, then there's no risk that all of a sudden I make one token, hand it out there, and all of a sudden there's 43 million of them in China and everybody's listening.
Now, is this related to this, you call this something called a trusted execution environment, or sometimes referred to as T,
Mm-hmm.
All right. So is this part of that?
Correct. So the TEE, or Trusted Execution Environment, is a specification from the Global Platform Group, a group of European banks. And you can go spend a very long weekend reading the few hundred pages of specifications out of the Global Platform Group. And what we're trying to do is reduce the complexity of that environment down to, here's some very convenient developer tools that are easy for an app developer to cut and paste this piece of code in and have encryption or have proper protection of a key. We actually have a fun team up at Rochester Institute of Technology. They're all undergraduate kids, and they've been building an encrypted chat app. That's an app called Chatter, and we gave them one of the pre-release copies of our tools, and it took them less than a dozen man hours to move their encryption keys out of Android and now protect them in hardware, leveraging the Rivetz toolkit. And that was just sort of a great example of, these guys know what they're doing. But they're all kids. They're still in college. None of them are graduate students. And if they can figure out how to provide really hardened environments for very secure communication in a few man hours, then I think we're on the right path to make this something simple that every app vendor should consider building in.
Well, look what's happening with Apple and Apple Pay. I mean, Apple is pushing Apple Pay. It's their product. And because of who they are and the vast amounts of money that they have and the influence they have, they're almost by brute force are pushing this technology into the consumer world. Now, how will your technology affect this evolution of digital payment systems? Because you obviously don't have the wherewithal, let's say, of an Apple, but do you think you're still going to do well?
But maybe the ease of use is just going to be more attractive.
I don't know. You tell me.
I think the power of the community that's out there of providing great tools that developers can easily use to incorporate it. Let's get an army of 10,000 developers who want to incorporate really great security into their app. We started out our first target market, and actually a group that we've worked very closely with has been the broader Bitcoin and blockchain space. And we have about 30 partners in that space who are working with us to incorporate Rivetz into their applications. And actually at Mobile World Congress this year in February, we were able to demonstrate with BitPay, one of the large merchant acquirers in the Bitcoin space, really the first secure e-commerce transaction end-to-end. And what made it secure was not only did we protect the key as though you had a smart card quality credential, kind of like those cards that they're sending us now in the mail, but with that key held within Rivetz. But we were also forming the actual financial transaction that gets sent off to the Bitcoin network inside the trusted execution environment. And then there's a third piece, which is the new generation of Galaxy S6 phones support something called trusted user interface. And this is the ability to put an image on the screen from the security side of the processor that's completely independent of the operating system. And so on that screen, you can write the amount, the account, fees, and you can ask the user to confirm either with a confirm button or a PIN number, and in the future it'll support biometrics as well, so that you have the user consenting to the transaction in a manner that there's no way that malware could interfere with that consent. Couldn't change the amounts or redirect the transaction to somebody else, so now I send all my money somewhere else. Couldn't falsify the user consent by trying to capture the PIN number, because now the PIN number is securely entered. We as consumers have this experience almost every day. It's the point of sale terminal at the grocery store or at Best Buy or wherever you're shopping. And you have a screen that shows you the amount you're going to be charged. You say, yes, that's what I want to, that's the transaction I want to do. You swipe your card or plug in the smart card and type in a PIN number. And that terminal, that point of sale terminal, is properly collecting that user consent. That's now possible in this next generation set of smartphones. It's really a fantastic advancement in the security of e-commerce.
I always wince slightly when somebody says never or it can't be done. I mean, I've always said where there's a will, there's a way. Are you saying? Are you going on record saying that it can't be done? It can't be hacked because it's not part of the operating system? Is that the main thing that you're saying?
So one of the reason why hardware security is important is because it's very hard to change the wires on a chip using software. If the chip is designed to have a barrier around it, then that barrier can't be altered by loading some piece of software on the phone. Now, every system has potential vulnerabilities. These are designed to be software tamper-proof, hardware tamper-resistant, which means you should not be able to hack this in any way by downloading a piece of software on the phone. However, if I physically steal your phone, in general, we would consider these about $1 million vault, in that if you had a super secret inside this phone and I had $1 million worth of lab equipment and the knowledge, I probably could extract the key on that phone. But that doesn't get me any further on extracting the keys out of somebody else's phone.
Okay.
And so it's $1 million vault. It's like anything, you go to you wouldn't put $10 million in gold bars in the vault at the Super 8 hotel.
No.
You might put your watch and your passport in,
well, they wouldn't
but you're
fit.
not going to put $10 million in.
Well,
every vault has a specific sort of value that you're really comfortable using.
Besides, it wouldn't fit. We're going to tell you. So.
Just put on debit cards.
Like you have a really big vault. All right, diamond.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the relationship between your technology and Bitcoin, I think you kind of basically outlined that. Bitcoin, of course, is like
I was kind of wondering, why you were so heavily influenced with Bitcoin. And of course, you said they were one of your first big customers or users. But I thought Bitcoin was pretty secure as it is.
So the back office of Bitcoin is very secure. The blockchain, and I do a transaction, then that transaction's done, and that ledger of transactions, which is the blockchain, the ability for the internet to hold a fact, very secure, fantastic. Question is, what did you tell it to do? So if I steal your private key, which is how Bitcoin knows that you're allowed to do a transaction, if I steal your private key, I can do transactions for you. Clearly, you didn't intend for that to happen. And so now you've got to figure out how to protect this private key. Then if I were to alter the transaction, so you thought you were sending all the money off to Stephen, but actually it all went to Fred because a piece of malware changed the address, then you have really no knowledge that happens until after you're done. And of course, these are non-reversible transactions, so your money already left the building. Now you discover that it got sent to the wrong place because a piece of bad software within, Windows or Android or iPhone changed the address. And so Bitcoin represents a fantastic platform for innovation in payments. It's open, it's brand new, it has 100,000 merchants that are relying on it, and you don't have to talk to Visa or MasterCard to do something really, really cool. And so it's been a great opportunity to take these incredible set of technologies that industry spent billions of dollars on and put them into commercial use, where you can download a wallet, do a transaction, and the first transaction that we did was instantly compatible with 100,000 merchants securely end to end. And so we have a number of partners in the Bitcoin space that we believe will be delivering products over the course of the summer so that people can experience this capability for themselves.
Okay, very cool. So if I'm a developer, and this sounds intriguing to me. I mean, what? First of all, do I have to purchase Rivetz technology? How much is it? I mean, can you give us what kind of costs are involved?
Sure. So we are trying to follow the model of the company Twilio. I'm sure you know who Twilio is, but they've done a great job of exposing how everybody can send SMS messages from inside their apps. And so you go to Rivetz.com. There's a developer section of our website. You can click on our developer agreement and sign up in real time online. Our tools are published on our website. They're open source examples up on Reddit. I mean, not on Reddit, on GitHub, sorry. And so the open source examples are up there to give people good examples of how to use the technology. Our business model is one of a per phone, per service relationship, and we're capable of charging on a per transaction basis all the way up to a one-time fee. Today, we're working those relations out individually, but understand it to be a less than $10 lifetime cost per device for an app. Obviously, some apps, even $10 it would be considered a huge number. For many others, it's a very appropriate fee.
Well,
and so, for example, with a Bitcoin wallet, you would download the free wallet, go play with Bitcoin, get a couple dollars. When you get to a couple $100 worth of Bitcoin, it might say, look, would you like to turn on the hardware security that's available in this phone? Here's an in-app purchase for $9.99 to turn on the hardware security if you'd like. And so you'd make that in-app purchase, and the hardware security capabilities would be turned on, and your keys would be more protected than they were before.
Now, when you say, obviously, am I missing something? Because $10 is not a lot of money. I mean, how are you becoming profitable? And I mean, how does Rivetz make its money?
Well, so from our perspective, we think this is something that many of the apps that exist on your phone would take advantage of. Our mission is very simple: to show you that a cloud service that leverages Rivetz has a more valuable customer for that cloud service than one that doesn't. So if we can improve privacy, improve identity, help in the security process of the relationship that's there, we think we can help increase the value of the cloud service. And so if we're able to show that, then every cloud service should turn this on. So we believe today that this is a very effective model. It can be inexpensive in the consumer market for people to have a Rivet capability across, a number of different services. In some cases, it'll just be included in the service you have. In other cases, it might be something that you pay for an upsell because you want that security yourself.
So,
and we think this is the right approach to the marketplace.
Right. I understand. But how do you let people know? I mean, it's not like, you're going to be at someone go to Best Buy and, oh, here's a package of rivets. I'm going to buy these. I mean, I guess, how do you get the word out? Obviously appearing on a show like ours, that's certainly a good thing, but what else do you do to let people know?
So our focus today is to talk to the developer community. This is something where value is brought to you as a consumer because it came as part of your app. So a Bitcoin wallet is a good example. You download this wallet, it was free. Here's an offer to turn on the hardware security that's there, enable the Rivet capability that's on your phone. It's merchandised to you by the app that you're already using. And so you've made a decision to use an app where that security is embedded within the app that's there. And we see that opportunity across a very broad range of apps today. Obviously for us, a huge win would be to go get somebody like Uber, who recently has been having a little trouble with their username and password, could use somebody like Rivetz to completely eliminate the risk of account theft in the Uber system. They could probably make it work in a long weekend.
Okay.
And so, we need to move from, how do you go from smaller apps to larger brands and larger capabilities in the space, and that's how you'll discover that it's there. It's already in the phone you've bought.
Okay.
And ultimately, if it's not in the phone you've bought and your friend shows it to you, this is what helps drive the hardware manufacturer to put it in, because if you switch phones, because this one's more convenient and more secure, that will drive everybody to turn on.
Let me ask you.
Eventually, Apple.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Apple, obviously, with the Apple Pay, is requiring a special terminals to be installed that support the technology. What hardware would a merchant need to take advantage of a Rivet or this trusted environment that you're speaking about?
Well, it's part of the beauty of playing in the Bitcoin space. As long as the merchant accepts Bitcoin, it just magically works. There's no additional hardware required to work with Rivetz because Bitcoin already has the merchant end of the transaction secure. This is securing the client end. If one were to do support for NFC payments using MasterCard or Visa, which certainly we could do if MasterCard and Visa wanted to play, then it would require the same type of modification that Apple required to merchant terminals. In this case, NFC works quite well for delivering these types of transactions. I think primarily the place that we'll see tremendous value delivered on this is also in e-commerce. And obviously e-commerce sites have a very simple time adding cryptocurrencies as a payment mechanism. Whether you pay in Bitcoin or you pay in dollars, we just signed a deal with a company called Tether where it's all cryptocurrency infrastructure, but you put dollars on your phone or your tablet, you spend dollars, the merchant gets dollars. Bitcoin's invisible in the process.
You mentioned MasterCard and Visa. Is that like the holy grail for what it is that you're looking for? If you can get them to accept the setup, Rivetz?
I think potentially, actually, I'm very excited about applications like chat and some of the big cloud brands. I think storage is a great application in this space where file and folder encryption, where the consumer owns the keys. Obviously, payment is a huge application, but I think we shouldn't be so distracted by payment to realize that the huge benefit here is the elimination of username and password for all these crazy services we belong to, and the opportunity to have embedded encryption so that the user gains control over their content. That's ultimately really what we want, is for users or the creator of the content to finally have control over the privacy of their content.
Okay, so
in a way that is appropriate.
So I guess that was one little tiny point that I missed. So you're saying that when you use a Rivet, you don't need a username and password anymore. You're secure.
You get that secure, you get that secure communication between the two sync devices.
Right. And so
That's right. So think of it like your phone. You type in a password every time you make a phone call? Well, that would be using Skype. You'd have to, every time you log in, you have to log in.
But yeah, not at all. It's all.
Your phone, it's just that you dial the phone, it just connects. It's brilliant.
Okay. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. That was one little tidbit that escaped me. So again, no username and password. You're just in, and again, but it's your device, obviously, and it's on a device basis. So if someone steals your device, then they still have to rely on the security of getting into that device in the first place, whether the PIN number or something. But once they're in, or if you don't secure your device, then they have access.
But the PIN number only has to work long enough to keep you out so that the user's noticed.
Then you can just deactivate the key.
Exactly.
Right. Well, because now so we believe very strongly that your superphone is not the answer. Your collection of devices is your identity. Your phone, your PC, your tablet, your spouse's phone or girlfriend's phone. Those collection of things represent your identity or your household's identity. And so it becomes very simple to say, oh, well, this other device is allowed to tell all the services that I lost my first one. And so now my PIN number only needs to be strong enough for me to go, oh, did I leave it in the car? And then you go out and check in the car and you realize, nope, somebody actually has taken it. At which point you want to push a button that says, oh, the keys that were in that phone are no longer useful for logging you onto any of your services.
No, exactly.
Very cool.
Do that from a web page. You could do that. It really is locking yourself out of your own services. Obviously, you want the ability to unlock it in case you find your phone on the couch. That would be convenient.
Yeah.
And so we're a firm believer in lock versus wipe, because wipe is a very dangerous thing. You won't hesitate to lock your phone out of systems because you can go unlock it, but you absolutely hesitate before you push the wipe button. They're like, no, I'm going to go check my girlfriend's apartment again just to make sure I didn't leave it there. And now your phone's been missing for a day.
Well, there you go. Again, if you want more information, you can go to our computeramerica.com, our website, and just click on the show notes button, and you'll see the description of Rivetz. We have a link to the Rivetz website, so you can check it out for yourself, or you can go to www.rivetz.com. But again, it's all on our show notes page at computeramerica.com. That just stays up there. Stephen, I want to thank you for being with us here on the show tonight. Very interesting topic, and I hope we see more of it. Rivetz technology appear in more and more devices. I think it's very cool. It sounds very cool to me.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. And we look forward to helping people have a more secure and safer internet experience going forward.
Excellent. Stephen Sprague, CEO of Rivetz. Thank you for being with us here tonight, Stephen. Appreciate it. Have a good evening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye. All right, there it is. Again, Rivetz. You can check it out.
I think or at least I really don't want to just gloss over it. The whole thing he said about giving it to students and they had it up and running within I think he said 12 hours. That's impressive. For some kind of encryption-based technology. So not only is it very, very cool, but it's also very, very easy. So don't want to understate that.
No, yeah, exactly. All right. Well, coming up in the next hour, we're going to be talking to another company called Neurometrix, and basically, they're a healthcare company that develops wearable medical technology, and we're going to be talking specifically about something called Quell, which is a wearable device for relief of chronic pain, such as nerve pain due to diabetes and lower back problems.
It looks like a giant bird.
A giant what?
Bird.
Bird?
Oh wait, no, that's quail. Never mind.
No, that's quail. Yeah, no, this is quail.
Well, got it.
Exactly. Okay. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, the TuneIn Radio Network.
Did you say the Tuna Radio Network?
Yes, the TuneIn Radio Network.
Tune in.
TuneIn, yes, exactly.
Something's wrong with midnight. They said tuna. I was like,
No, not the Tuna Radio
network.
Yeah. Hey, Groove Shark is gone.
Yeah, sad days.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it just appeared tonight. Poof, gone. With a big note, apology, and saying, we're out of business. All right. We'll talk more about that later on. We're going to take a quick short break, and then we're back for hour 2 of the Computer America program.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we're into the second hour. Again, thanks to Rivetz for being here in the first hour of the program, the CEO of the company. Very illuminating, very enlightening. Again, if you missed any of the show, you can always listen to it again. We archive all of our programs at ComputerAmerica.com and all the different venues that carry it, including Apple's iTunes. We have it all there. The videos are available as well, so you can listen and watch the show again and again and again. It's all up there at ComputerAmerica.com. We continue to move forward with the new website. It looks like it's going to be pushed back another week, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I understand you're excited and you want to get things done, but websites are a very complicated little process, and you want to make sure everything is up and running properly before you launch, because even after you launch, there are little tweaks and things that you have to take care of. So we're just trying to do it the best we can, and I believe
we have our slave masters whipping our webmeister as fast as they can possibly whip. So do not worry, it'll be up before you know it.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have another show reminder coming out again.
He's like, hire another guy, and we're like, work faster. So there's discussion is happening. Yes,
exactly. Again, now. If you have a comment or a question for our guests, give us a call, 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you through. Email is live, L-I-V-E, @computeramerica.com. Or join us in our live interactive chat room. It's all available from our homepage at computeramerica.com. Just follow the instructions. It's really simple. Okay, so we got another news tips bulletin review coming up in the second hour as well. And, of course, we'll be calling out our show reminder winner of the week. If you haven't subscribed to it yet, go ahead and do so. My understanding is that when we make the transition and shift, everything will be moved over, so you won't have to do it again. So, why miss the opportunity? Go ahead and register for the show reminder newsletter. And what we're thinking now is that the newsletter might actually appear online rather than being delivered via email. It might be up online. We're still experimenting with all the different possibilities, but we're going to look for the best possible solutions that we can. Okay, tomorrow is Friday, and that's a biggie. That's the Avengers: The Age of Ultron is premiering tomorrow. A lot of people, are going to be going to that. I'm personally going to wait until like a Sunday or something when it's really quiet.
I'm wondering how many records it's going to break, because the first one that came around was extremely popular, and the hype for this one has been no less, nothing less than amazing. So probably a few records going to be broken.
Well, it's certainly a lot of people are going to be going to see it. It's looking to be like the blockbuster of the summer. Although Star Wars is right around the corner too. So a lot of big movies, of course. Well, Batman versus Superman isn't coming out till 2000.
Till 2016.
Yeah, so we got a little time for that too. But these are monster movies, and
Jurassic Park.
And Jurassic Park. That's coming out in 2016 too.
Jurassic World. No, 2015.
2015. That's coming out this week. This year. Okay. Well, our next guest is waiting patiently in the wings, and I don't see any reason why we should make him wait any longer than we have to. So why don't we kind of bring him on? Now, the company is called Neurometrix. Okay. And according to them, they're an innovative healthcare company that develops wearable medical technology and point-of-care testing that can help you as a patient and physicians better manage chronic pain, nerve diseases, even sleep disorders. Now in this hour, you're going to hear about Quell, which is a wearable device for relief of chronic pain, such as nerve pain due to diabetes and lower back problems. Joining us now is Frank McGillen. He is Neurometrix Senior Vice President and General Manager of Consumer Health. Frank, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir? Are you there?
Did the mute button get him?
I don't know. Yeah, you're no, that's it. Yeah, but I think you've muted the hardware yourself. You've muted the hardware. You check your hardware. I think you hit the mute button or something. Because
okay, how about now?
Yeah, you double muted yourself.
The mute button gets more people than you think.
Yeah,
I didn't want to intrude on the previous guest, so I was double checking.
This is why we tell you just use the one that's on Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the show, Frank. How are you?
Craig, really excited to be here. So thanks for having us on.
Now I'm excited to hear. I'm all for technology and medical sciences. There's all kinds of advancements that are becoming more and more available. We're seeing a lot of these devices. Wearable technology, medical devices, things that you used to. You used to be.
You just have to go to a doctor or a clinic or something like that just to do it. Now, the technology in your pocket is just as powerful.
Yeah, and also, when you went to the doctor, though, they would take it, and all you would basically get is a snapshot, of what it was you're looking for. And now with these wearable devices, the doctor gets more than just, a 2-second snapshot from an EKG or something. Or an EEG. Now they're getting the day's activity. They're getting a much broader scope of the activity of the day, and they can make a better diagnostic decision based upon all this information. And so now, tell us a little bit about the company itself, Neurometrix, and give us a little background before we get into the products themselves.
Yeah, sure, Craig. Well, Neurometrix actually came out of the labs of MIT, and our earliest products you mentioned were in the diagnostic field. So we did a lot of work around diagnosing things like carpal tunnel syndrome, nerve disease, and working with folks with those conditions. One thing that became really obvious over time was they were suffering from chronic pain. The pain was affecting their lives in a pretty significant way. Weren't able to sleep, weren't able to be active, and we basically focused on using some of our insight in terms of how the central nervous system works and applied it to creating Quell, which is the first wearable for the treatment of chronic pain.
Wow. Okay. And so these we've seen. Not necessarily generations, but these devices develop over time and improve over time. How when you first came out and when you have now, the products I assume have improved quite a bit.
Yeah, the basic technology or concept behind neurostimulation has been around for years. It's used in doctors' offices. It's used in implantable devices that are put in, surgically implanted. What we've done is through both miniaturization, through use of automation and microcontrollers, been able to put something in a consumer's hands that's totally automated. It's able to calibrate to an individual's physiology, so it's giving you the right level of therapy, and then it's totally automated. And best of all, it's drug-free. And when we talk to consumers, that's the one thing that's most exciting about them, is the fact that the product's drug-free.
So
yeah, because you can get pain relief, excluding side effect free, you can get pain relief from any number of pills. But to be, to be so firmly implanted in just technology and that kind of thing, I mean, that must have been like the real breakthrough. Is, hey, sure, the technology's been around, but to have it this small and this accessible must have been a challenge. Like, just to have it that small.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right that people were looking for different approaches. I mean, one of the challenges is that if you're going to use neurostimulation to relieve pain, is that you basically need to have relatively high levels of power. You need to be stimulating nerves over a long period of time, and you need to be doing it at the right level. If you're at the wrong level, you'll get, if you're too low, you'll get no benefit from the pain relief. If it's too high, it would just be irritating and people would abandon. So what we've done through our, we call it optotherapy, is we've developed algorithms and built them into the device that make sure you're getting the optimal treatment throughout the day. Wow.
So your flagship product is called the Quell?
Yep. Quell is our newest product. We're actually in the process of launching it as we speak. We first raised it to the public awareness at CES earlier this year, Consumer Electronics Show, really great reception from both technology world, the press, as well as retailers.
Now, is this something similar? Because I know that there are products out there that come to the general classification of a TENS unit, I believe it's called, which uses neural stimulation to block pain. Is this kind of related to that?
In a broad sense, it's related to TENS. It's related to the implantable devices I talked about, because they're all using nerve stimulation. I would say that to compare, basic TENS unit with all the wires and cables to a Quell is like comparing a Tesla to a 10-year-old beater car. They both have four wheels, and they're both considered cars, but the level of technology in a Quell is light years beyond. Both in terms of power, it's two to 5 times more powerful than typical OTC TENS device. It's fully automated, so it's delivering precisely the amount of therapy you need. And it has it's wearable, which allows you to deliver therapy over long periods of time. And if you have chronic pain, the key to getting effective relief is the fact you need to be dosing appropriately, and you need to be dosing over time. Mm-hmm. So if you just kind of slap on some over-the-counter TENS unit, you're probably not going to get the kind of relief you're looking for.
Okay, so what makes the Quell unique, I guess, because obviously it is. Tell us a little bit about the technology that you're using.
Yeah, well, the first thing it starts at it's wearable. It's lightweight, rechargeable lithium-ion battery, can deliver up to 40 hours of therapy at a time. The way it works is based on this neurostimulation. So we stimulate sensory fibers in your leg, and that triggers the release of endogenous opioids, or the body's natural pain relievers in your brain stem, which then block the pain in your spinal column. Mm-hmm. So what's unique? We talked about automation. We talked about the fact that it's lightweight, high power. The other thing is it integrates with iOS app. which in terms of managing your therapy really really helps empower the person to take better control of their care. From both a tracking and monitoring of the treatment, but also lets them unlock different features of the device that may be more difficult to access. So, for example, our product's designed to be worn 24 hours a day, so you can wear it while you're sleeping. You can set different sleep modes. So the first thing is the device will know if you're laying down. Yeah. The accelerometer in the device detects that you're prone. If you set it for gentle mode, it will actually reduce the therapy level by about 20%. Because if you think about it, when you're sleeping, you want to have enough relief to make sure that you're able to stay asleep, but you don't want the thing to wake you up in the middle of the night. So by the iOS app lets us control a lot of the features and customize. It also provides that tracking. And then finally, we're the only neurostimulation device that also does sleep tracking as part of it. And I mentioned earlier that there's this big link between chronic pain and sleep. People who are in pain just can't sleep. So we know if we can show improvement over time of somebody's sleep, we're probably helping their pain.
Wow. So
and by the way, pain is a very general thing. Is this pain due to arthritis, poor blood circulation? What kind of pain are you trying to alleviate?
We're focused really on chronic pain, and these are people who have been suffering from pain most days for at least 3 months at a time. So it's not the occasional toothache or athletic injury from a weekend warrior. These are folks with conditions like osteoarthritis, painful diabetic neuropathy, pain related to shingles, or fibromyalgia. So people who are suffering pain on a regular basis. It's about, in the U.S., there's about 100 million Americans who are suffering from chronic pain, so it's pretty common. And when you look at how many people are using prescription medications for pain, it's kind of staggering. So we're excited to be one of the first drug-free approaches to that can help folks with chronic pain get relief.
And it looks like it's packaged. As you say, it's a wearable device. It looks like the actual device itself fits into some sort of a sleeve of some sort.
We worked with the international design firm IDEO to optimize the device, and with any wearable, having something that's a form factor that it's personal, it's going to be on your body for an extended period of times, really understanding how it fits in their life was important. And with IDEO, we actually spent a lot of time with people suffering from chronic pain to try to figure out how they might use the product. To understand, how they felt about it. Did they want it to be visible? Did they want, was it more comfortable on the leg or somewhere else? Mm-hmm. So basically, the device, the therapy pod, as we call it, has all the intelligence and as the battery pack. That's relatively lightweight, about the size of an iPhone. It slips into a breathable neoprene sports band. And then there's a disposable electrode that will last about 2 weeks, and the electrode is actually what delivers the stimulation from the device through the skin.
Well, I mean, this is really to me it looks very cool technology. So, is there any? Is it designed to fit your leg, fit your arm, and just about most any of the part where you would experience these types of things? I mean. How does it fit on the lower back? Because that obviously that little wristband wouldn't fit around your waist. So how does that work?
Yeah, and actually the interesting thing is this is designed to give sort of all-over pain relief, but it's worn on the leg. And the reason you're wearing it on your leg is twofold. One is you have a lot of sensory nerves close to your skin. So by wearing it on the leg, we're able to stimulate a lot of sensory nerves, and that's what triggers the response in the spinal column. The second reason it's worn on the leg, if you're going to be wearing the device for 12, 15, 18, 24 hours a day, you want a location that's comfortable and relatively discreet. So really, the leg is a convenient place to wear it, a convenient place to stimulate nerves. But the real magic of pain relief happens in the brainstem and the spinal column, where we're blocking the pain signals.
Okay. So you can be wearing it on your leg, and it will block pain for most any part. Are you saying it'll work for any part of the body, or does it have to be localized? I mean, to the area where the pain is being felt.
So it's optimized for really, if you think about things like sciatica or lower back pain, pain in the feet and legs. But it will also help in arthritis and some other parts of the body. It won't work for migraine. One question we get from a lot of people is, could I use this for migraines? Migraines are in the upper brain, and this is really triggering the response below the brainstem.
All right, so I'm still confused. Let's say I have a diabetic neuropathy, let's say in my feet, for example. And I wear this on my left thigh. Is it only going to work on the left foot, or is it going to work for both feet? I mean, how local, or do I need one for each leg? I guess is what I'm at. Oh,
okay. Yeah, it will actually block. It will provide relief on both sides of the body. The pain relief, or the blocking of pain, happens in the spinal column. So it doesn't matter if it's in your right leg or your left leg. The pain relief is really happening in the central nervous system, and blocking in the spinal column. It's just like, if you think about it, if you take a pill, you're not rubbing the pill on your foot if you had a painful foot. You're taking a pill and it's working through your system. Okay. Instead of going through your bloodstream here, we're working through the central nervous system.
Okay, so I'm getting it. So it's systemic, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess my next question is, how does the input, let's say it's on my left calf or something, how does that signal get to the central nervous system in such a way that it can isolate pain in a particular region of the body? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, the process is that you're stimulating sensory nerves in your leg. The sensory nerves, travel. You have sensory nerves, and you also have pain receptors. But your sensory nerves, as you're stimulating them, they trigger a response in the brain stems. Basically, there's an ascending signal that goes to the brain stem. That stimulation fools the brain to release these natural pain relievers, enkephalins, or endogenous opioids. The release of the endogenous opioids has a descending pain inhibition, or basically sends signals down your spinal column and blocks it in the spinal column. So it's really working using the central nervous system on one hand to deliver signals to the brain, and on the other hand to push down pain blocking signals into the spinal column.
Would this work? Let's say somebody who has, let's say in their spine they have they would say they were in a car accident and they have a neck pain due to the car accident. Would this work for someone who has a constant chronic pain in their neck, or let's say from an automobile accident?
If you talk about something like a neck pain where it's likely based on a pinched nerve, this would be an ideal type of therapy.
It would.
I think the one thing, though, is pain is very individual. If you look at the best pharmaceutical solutions, they don't work for all patients, all consumers. And we're confident Quell will work for most people, but we also know it won't work for everyone. So we are offering a 60-day money-back guarantee for the product, because we want people to try it. We think for most people with chronic pain, if they have something like sciatica or fibromyalgia or painful diabetic neuropathy, they'll see relief. But then again, if they don't see relief, we'll honor the money-back guarantee within 60 days.
So is this a medical device? Like, if you tried to claim this purchase, maybe to your insurance or something like that, this is definitely a medical device.
Yeah, it's a Class 2 medical device. It was FDA cleared for over-the-counter sale. Insurance coverage varies. Most insurance companies aren't covering over-the-counter products. You definitely, if you had an FSA account, flexible spending account, you definitely could use a flexible spending account as a way to pay for it, which would be, helps provide the tax savings.
Now on the website, and if you're looking at our live video stream, you can see Ben there. I saw it. Don't go down. Go back up. Yeah, it looks like the woman is holding an iPhone. So can I infer from this that this device can be controlled with a smartphone interface of some sort?
Yeah. We just got approval for our iPhone app this week in preparation for our launch of Quell.
Mm-hmm.
So you can manage manage various settings on the device. It'll provide both real-time as well as historical tracking of therapy trends, and it'll also provide the sleep tracking I talked about earlier.
But if does it require a smartphone, or can you use it without one?
Nope. The smartphone is totally optional. I mean, all the Quell device itself has all the electronics in it to operate independently, but the iPhone app, as well as the upcoming Android app, basically makes it more convenient to access a number of the features. It also makes it much more easy to leverage things like tracking through the phone.
Now again, I'm looking at the picture right next to the iPhone. It looks like she's pushing this blue button, but it looks like just one button. So how do you control everything with the one button?
That was a real challenge for the engineering team. And one thing we were trying to make it was very simple. You talk to consumers and they're overwhelmed with complexity of device. We said we wanted to have one control, the good news is most everything on the operation of the device is automatic. So there aren't a lot of keystrokes or button pushes you need to do. But between the app and the single button, you can calibrate it so it customizes therapy to your specific needs. You can change sleep settings. You can go from automatic to manual mode. Basically, anything you need to do, you can do with the one button.
Really, exactly. So now, and when you look at the unit itself, it's got like a little row of lights on it too, right? So what do those indicate? What are they supposed to be indicating?
So the 5 LEDs on the top. I mean, the primary feature is that to help track battery life. As I mentioned, you get about 40 hours of therapy on a fully charged battery. There are also various patterns that can use to indicate if you're changing between, say, automatic mode and manual mode. The LEDs will help you understand which mode you're in. If you're changing your sleep settings, use the LEDs to also determine which sleep setting you're in.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and there are a lot of apps out there, fitness tracking apps, sleep tracking apps, things like that. Wearable other devices. Is this able to talk with any other apps, or is this completely self-contained in its own environment?
So the current generation is self-contained. Our plan is on our next generation is to integrate with HealthKit, and we're also looking for ways to tap in so we can communicate with other health apps. Because reality is that consumers don't. They want to integrate their data and they want to have a holistic picture of themselves. So we do have that on our roadmap.
This looks like a very cool technology. So you don't need the iOS app to use Quell, but it just makes things simpler and easy to use. How long does the battery last in this?
Battery will last up to 40 hours of therapy. So it's a long-lasting battery. Actual usage will depend on both your level of pain and the size of your body. So some people may only get maybe 20 or 25 hours of therapy, other people will be able to get a full 40 hours worth of use.
So you're saying body mass makes a difference?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you're a 100-pound supermodel, or if you're a 250-pound linebacker,
Mm-hmm.
Just like if you were taking pills, the 250-pound linebacker might need a higher dose. Same thing with neurostimulation. Someone with higher body mass would need a higher power level.
Well, does it adjust that power level, or do you have to adjust that, or is it self-adjusting?
So there's a simple calibration process that's done the first time you use it. It takes about 2 minutes. And basically what it's doing is sending test patterns to identify what level of stimulation you need. The device then calculates the right therapeutic level based on that calibration setting. So it's it's a pretty smart device.
Yeah, it sounds like it. All right. Well, listen, we're sort of the bottom of the hour, and we're going to take a break momentarily. But I've got a lot more questions for you. Like the battery, is the battery rechargeable? Just quick.
No, one-time use. Lots of trash.
Now, lithium-ion, no memory battery, so yeah, it's rechargeable, and that's important in order to have enough power in the unit.
Right, exactly. Okay. All right, we're going to take a little break, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, on TuneIn Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to Frank McGillen. He is the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Consumer Health for Neurometrix. We're talking about the Quell device, this amazing little device that you can wear, control with your iPhone, and eventually your Android phone to help manage chronic pain. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with a news tips bulletin review from Marty Winston, and then we'll continue on with Neurometrix. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf's staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
It's what you've been waiting for. Hi, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the VTech cordless phone kit with AV doorbell. Now, when you're waiting for a package to arrive, how often do you check to see if it's there yet? How about packages waiting to be picked up? A dog on site may raise a ruckus, but you may endure more interruptions from those false positives than from checking the door now and again. If there is somebody at the door, is it simple delivery with no harm done if you wait a moment or two before responding? Or is there somebody at the door you need to get up and see right now? We put out an editorial call for video doorbells and got in a VTech IS7121 cordless phone system with two cordless DECT 6 handsets, an answering system in the base with a very welcome on-off switch, and an audio-video doorbell. The doorbell box has a button and a tone sounder plus a camera with a simple aim setting control, plus two infrared emitters for seeing in the dark. If you don't want to run power wiring it to it, and we didn't, you can use PERP AA cells, and it doesn't draw on those until somebody pushes the doorbell button. It grabs an immediate snapshot while sounding a doorbell tone. You get to choose one from a menu on each handset. Shows you the snapshot on the handset and gives you the option of a live two-way audio, one-way video intercom feed. The handsets are also nicely featured with talking caller ID, an equalization choice, and a strong set of contemporary convenience features. Bottom line, the VTech 2 handset cordless phone answering system with AV doorbell earns a sitting ovation. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 34 minutes past the hour. It's Thursday, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it's Thursday.
Yeah, so no show reminder winner tonight. That's tomorrow. But right now, we are talking to Neurometrix, talking about their Quell right now, and it's this awesome device that's going to help, I really hope, help doctors be able to prescribe less medication, because that's obviously, it's a quick go-to, but it obviously should not be, your first and probably not, hopefully not your last option. There should be other ways that you get relief without having to take pills, because that's very, very dangerous. Lots of side effects. Something like Quell, don't really see that. But some people, they do have medication. They have medication that they need to take, and I know you mentioned earlier that that this thing works on the central nervous system and and really does this thing. Are there any medications that you're not supposed to take with this, and in case like it may mess up the signal to your nerves, or something like any medication you can't take with this, so it won't work?
Good question.
That's a great question. Actually, there's no limit restrictions in terms of the types of medication you could use alongside, and we expect many physicians will still be using different pharmaceuticals. This is part of an overall solution. If you look at traditional opiates, Quell actually interacts with a different opiate receptor in the central nervous system, so it's actually working on a parallel track to a Vicodin or those kind of products.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned that Quell works with is beside tracking pain therapy, is sleep activity. And I would ask you, what benefits come from tracking pain therapy and sleep activity with the app?
Yeah, and it gets back to the fact that people suffering from chronic pain, it affects all aspects of their life. They don't sleep well, they're irritable, it affects mood. And we were looking for ways to track the effectiveness of our therapy. And one of the things we realized was if we could track sleep, meaning if we could show people were sleeping better, we knew that they would actually be doing better from managing their overall pain. And that's been confirmed with all the people we've talked to and all the people we've done research with in the development of Quell. So that's why we picked sleep tracking as an important feature. We also know that people suffering from pain tend to have it worse at night. So they're going to be wearing it at night, and this is a really good benefit for them.
Well, I remember a doctor saying to me that pain is most noticeable at nighttime. He says that's when you feel things that you wouldn't normally feel, because during the day you're distracted with other things and you don't tend to notice it. But when you're lying quietly in bed in a dark room, then you start to feel these things. They become much more noticeable. And I think,
absolutely. It's the fly buzzing around your head when you're trying to get to sleep. I mean, normally that wouldn't be so bothersome. And, if you have pain in your legs, pain in your lower back, and you're trying to get to sleep, every little movement exaggerates it. So that's why it's so important to have a product that not only can be used during the day, but we design a product that can be used at night.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Now,
I was kind of browsing through your site, and if you are using this when you're asleep, actually, first, how long is a session? Use something like, well, like is it really 8 hours at a time? Because when you sleep, that 8 hours to 10 hours, or I personally like to get in my tight 14. that would be one session. So how long is a typical session, and how often can you use it?
Yeah, yeah. So Quell can be used 24 hours a day, but the therapy sessions themselves are 1 hour long. So the product cycles on and off automatically every hour. If you're finding, and the way the relief works, that there's, a bit of sustaining power, meaning people will feel relief for, up to 60 minutes after the therapy session stopped. So it cycles on and off, and a patient can reset the clock at any time if they need a little more pain relief.
So it's not always firing. In other words, when you get that endorphin or whatever it is that you're talking about, that in itself has a certain amount of lasting power. So while you're getting that, you don't want to have the unit on, and that's basically the reason that you do it that way.
Yeah, it's again you're stimulating the brain stem. It's releasing these opioids in your spinal column, and those levels stay raised for a while. And if you continuously stimulated nerve, without any interruption, it would start to get desensitized. We've built a number of features into the product to minimize nerve sensitization.
All right. Well, I have to ask you this question, and it's not that I don't mean to get personal, but I have to ask this, right? I mean, have you used this product yourself? I mean,
I'm wearing one right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that you're not only the senior vice president and general manager of consumer health for them, you're a user. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for many years of probably sitting on airplanes and those sorts of things, I do have lower back pain.
So
I find it very helpful. Yeah.
And I was going to say, and you do find it helpful then.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just had to ask. I'm sorry. I guess that's probably the best endorsement of all is that when you not only do it, I guess it was like the hair club for men. Not only do I own it, but I also wear one. I'm a user. Along those same lines. So and now the Quell. So the Quell is just coming out. So obviously you have access to the company. So you've been using the Quell now for some time for.
Various iterations, and most people within the company have been involved in the testing over the past 6 months that we've been doing testing. But the product itself, I mean, the technology in Quell, we had a predecessor device that was available by prescription only.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got about 2 years of experience with people using the same underlying technology, over 2 million hours of therapy with the prescription device. Quell is actually the full strength. We've made it smaller and easier to use, which is why we were able to get the over-the-counter approval.
Well, let me ask you that. What makes it? Well, I understand with drugs why something is over-the-counter and why there's a prescription strength version of maybe that drug too. So what was different? What was different about the prescription strength? Was it what made it different?
The prescription strength was hooked up to a car battery. Really worked.
It would definitely wake you up.
No,
in this case, in a device, what we had to show that was that it could be used safely by a consumer. So the actual power is identical, but we were able to design it to be simpler, so you didn't need the doctors to help you set it up or those kind of things. So that was what the FDA looked like when they gave us the over-the-counter approval.
Okay, so it was just the ease of use.
Yeah. The ease of use and automation was what helped us get it over the counter.
I understand. Now we talked about the replacing the. I mean, first of all, the battery is rechargeable, so you don't necessarily need to replace the battery. I assume it lasts for a very long time. But what about the electrodes? The electrode interface. So do you have to replace those, and if so, how often?
Yeah, the electrodes are designed to last about 2 weeks, and just over time, since they're used to conduct electricity, and they're used while you're active, while you're sleeping, while you're running around town, the hydrogel on them tends to break down. So we recommend you replace them every 2 weeks. They'll be available on quellrelief.com, and therapy ends up costing about $1 a day.
Okay, all right. And I haven't gotten into the price yet, but we'll talk about that momentarily and what it costs. Now, as a lithium-ion battery, I assume that you just have the one battery and that's all you need. Does it come with a recharger as well, or how do you charge it?
Yeah, it comes with a recharger. It's a micro USB charger, as well as we have the wall plug. Unfortunately, you can't charge it plugging in your computer. You need the higher power USB. But it can be recharged at any wall outlet, and also it's universal, so it can be charged and domestically or as well as abroad.
So if I have a smartphone that uses, most of the phones today are using the little micro USB plug. Is it compatible with those?
Yeah, depending on the output of the actual plug, it'll definitely fit. The question might be, does the plug itself have enough juice coming out of it to charge it? But it likely would work.
Okay, all right. So now, one of the main problems with a lot of these wearable devices has been the abandonment rate. They try it out, and then they get discouraged with it, and they'll buy a Fitbit, and they're all pumped up about it, and then after a while, So I guess my question is, what do you expect will make the adoption rate of the Quell different than a lot of these other devices?
Yeah. The dirty little secret of wearables is the fact that after about 6 months, people leave it on the dresser. And I think the difference between Quell and a Fitbit or one of the other wearables is that, if I leave my Fitbit at home, it probably doesn't change my life. If I'm getting, quality pain relief with Quell, and I leave at home, I'm going to notice. So we've really designed it to encourage regular usage, and we think people, when they feel the pain relief, they'll continue with it.
We have a question in the chat room. He wants to know how chronic is chronic. He said, "What about post-op people with 4 to 6 months terms of pain? Would this be something for them?"
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, pain's very individual. If it's post-operative, we would recommend you talk to your physician to get their reaction to Quell as part of the therapy. We do know, again, conditions like painful diabetic neuropathy, fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, it's highly effective, but depending on the type of surgery and the type of implication, I'm not a doctor, so I can't comment on whether it would be appropriate for that person.
I understand that. So basically, you're saying that the adoption rate of Quell is going to be based upon the fact that if this is something that they're wearing, not necessarily just to measure, but also to, because the Fitbit doesn't treat anything; it's just monitoring you. And what makes Quell different than these other devices is that you're actually using it for therapeutic value as well.
No, we think we're the first wearable product that goes beyond simple tracking and actually delivers therapy, and we do think that will be the difference in terms of why people will continue using it.
Yeah, no, I would tend to agree with you. And again, the types of pain specifically, we're talking about chronic pain, but what about, I mentioned, a temporary pain. Let's say, I don't know, you burn yourself, and and that can last for weeks, and so to manage, let's say, a burned area, would Quell work with something like that?
Burns, we don't have a lot of data around. There's different causes of pain. Some pain's caused by inflammation. So, for example, if you talk about typical sports injury, would be caused by inflammation. Post-surgical, a lot of the pain there's from inflammation. Quell's not really effective against that kind of pain. Other pain is caused by either compressed nerves or aberrant signals in the central nervous system. And, for example, again, fibromyalgia, sciatica, diabetic neuropathy, osteoarthritis, those conditions, it's all very highly effective.
All right. Well, that's good to know. All right, let's talk a little bit about the cost. What does Quell cost?
So the cost of the device will be $249. As I mentioned, the electrodes cost about $1 a day. And we did a fair amount of research talking to consumers and trying to understand the value proposition, and looking at comparative options out there. We've gotten a very positive feedback.
So how many are in they come in packages of how many? How are you packing them?
So the starter kit for Quell, you get the device, the band, a month's worth of electrodes, a charging cable, and the wall plug.
All right, and then what? And then if I want to get some extra,
and the electrodes are sold in packages of 2. So a pack of 2 will last for a month.
And when you say a pack of 2, in other words, is there 1 electrode or 2 electrodes on the Quell unit?
You use one at a time. So
Okay.
So each is used for 2 weeks. So one package will last a month.
There was another question in the chat room. He wanted to know if could you use the Quell if nothing's wrong with you, but you want to get a kind of a high, make you feel better.
Yeah.
Like I'm really not in pain now.
I just want to feel better. We doesn't get an endorphin high.
Yeah, I guess for good, unfortunately or not unfortunately, no. It's a different receptor that would cause the high, and it will be working in the upper regions of the brain. So, we can help you with your pain, but we're not going to give you a good time on a Friday night.
Okay.
I guess that's answering the 100% drug-free part.
100% drug-free. Yes, absolutely.
Well, he was wondering about the impact on the war on drugs, as in using Quell, to keep drugs from being prescribed and put out there.
Yeah, war on prescription drugs, not the war on drugs. Like we're not hanging this out on like the Mexican border. It's like, hey, use this instead of pot. But no, the war on prescription drugs, where it seems like the first option for a lot of doctors is to just throw a pill at it, and there you go. But would doctors be open to try this before they're willing to prescribe something?
We think so, and there's more and more restrictions being put in place in the prescribing of opiate products, and reality is that there's dramatic side effects. I think there were 16,000 deaths in 2013 from prescription opiates.
Yes. Really?
Yeah. It's an epidemic. I mean, here in Massachusetts, it's the major war on trying to basically turn this around. So, and one of the reasons is there's just not a lot of great alternatives right now. So we're excited to have an alternative to prescription opiates. The way it's designed, it can be used in parallel, and actually may be a way to help wean people from an opiate addiction, that started in the treatment of chronic pain.
Yeah, you hear about that. Things like oxycodone. I mean, that is like you can become addicted to that really quick. And so many people who are not really addictive or drug users become that because they keep using it
because they become dependent. So
they become dependent upon it and everything, and which was not the intention. Short term, not, but for long term, it can cause a problem.
Absolutely. And the problem is, if you have chronic pain, you're going to need to use something for a long time. So they're just not a great alternative for those kind of people.
Yeah, this is an amazing. But now, where can they go? Can they, if they want to purchase it, they have to go to the Neurometrix website, or can they go to the local pharmacy and get it? I mean, where is this available, or where will it be available?
So we'll be available both in doctors' offices as well as on quellrelief.com. So, as new technology, we want to make sure it's available in places where folks will get the education in terms of how to use the product properly. So, again, quellrelief.com, or many physicians are starting to stock the product as well.
What kind of physicians are you noticing that are they chiropractors? Are they medical doctors?
So chiropractors, podiatrists, pain management specialists, a lot of holistic health practitioners are interested in this because it's drug free.
But it's not necessarily alternative medical personnel. I mean, you're talking also maybe legitimate. Not legitimate, but just regular doctors.
The bulk of it is chiropractors, podiatrists, as well as pain management physicians.
When you say pain management, but what about
like general practitioners?
Practitioners or orthopedic specialists, that type of thing. Do you think there'll be some interest in that as well? Let's face it. Look at acupuncture. Acupuncture was around thousands of years in the Chinese, and then only not in the past decade or so maybe the medical community has sort of embraced it, so that it really does exist. This is not some parlor trick, that it really does. Do you think it's still being looked at that by the medical community, or are they accepting it that this is something that really works?
Are you talking about acupuncture or Quell?
Well, Quell. I acupuncture as an example. How long it took to be embraced by the medical community.
You guys said it came out of the labs of MIT, right? And they're pretty avant-garde.
Yeah. So the physicians have been pretty accepting of Quell and the technology, because the technology and the concept's been around for years. What we've done is basically put it in the hands, or actually on the legs, of patients, because we've made it wearable, we've made it totally automated. So from a scientific theory, no questions about the scientific theory. What we've done is really automated it and made it accessible.
Really, exactly. Now it's primarily. Is it always worn on the legs? Is that what it's designed?
That's the number one question we get is, why do I wear it on my leg if my back hurts? And it really is, and it's a good question. But the reason you wear it on your leg is it's a convenient location to stimulate sensory nerves. It's discreet, and it's a relatively comfortable place. If you think about if you're wearing a medical device on your back, or even though Quell's small and discreet, and you're sitting down, it would be pretty uncomfortable.
Well, what about now? I know you show pictures on the calf, but obviously if a man's wearing it, he's wearing pants, it's not visible. But with a woman, a skirt, you're going to see it. Have you thought of maybe moving it up toward the thigh area, so you can wear a skirt and not have it visible?
Yeah, you could wear it on the thigh. We have some patients or early users who use it on the thigh because either they don't have sensory nerve. Primarily, people are wearing the thigh because of nerve damage in their lower extremities. But there's no reason you couldn't wear it on the thigh. There's a ton of sensory nerves there as well.
Is the strap large enough to accommodate? Because the thigh is obviously bigger than the calf. Is it long enough to strap it to that?
I'd say for probably 95% of people could put it on their thigh. Mm-hmm. It's very elastic and stretchy. And we're going to have available shortly a larger size for if people need a larger size band.
Okay, because you don't want it to turn into a tourniquet,
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, you definitely won't want that. Well, again, Frank, I want to thank you for being with us here on the show tonight. Again, neurometrix.com is the website, or again, go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com, and you can see that for yourself. And are even though it's not out yet, are you taking orders now?
We are taking pre-orders, so if you go on the website, you'll be one of the first to get the device when we start shipping in a few weeks.
In a few weeks, okay, so that's something good to know. Frank, I would like for you to stay with us and to the end of the show because I have another question I'd like to ask you after the program. So if you
Sure.
stay with us to the end, okay?
Happy to stick on.
Okay, stick on. There he goes again. Frank McGillen, Neurometrix' Senior Vice President and General Manager of Consumer Health. Thank you for being here with us on the Computer America Show. It was a pleasure having you here. Okay. All right. Wow. Ben, what do we got coming up? We've got.
Good
No,
question.
90 seconds.
Oh, it's Friday, obviously, and that we're going to have Nathan Evans, the managing editor of Pop Zara magazine, is going to be here with us for both hours. And Nate's a fun guy. Friday we're going to be all over the road. We're going to be talking about Google getting sued by the EU. We're going to talk about all the movie trailers that are out. We love doing that. The impending E3, what we're going to be seeing at E3, and just
60 seconds.
kind of all over the road, but it's always going to be a lot of fun. Nathan Evans, managing editor of Pop Zara magazine, here with us for both hours. And that about wraps it up. Thank all of you so much for being with us here tonight. Again, I want to thank Steven Sprague, the CEO of Rivetz, here with us in the first hour. Interesting conversation. And then, of course, Neurometrix, again, in the second hour. Thanks to all of our guests for being here with us. Thanks to all of you for being here with us tonight as well. And we will see you tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, thanks everybody for watching the Google Hangouts. Have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.